lot of money. He said he wouldn't do it. That's how how much the time. Yeah, I just worked for hours. Yeah, worked for hours and every single scale, to guarantee, that the weights and that the commerce was problem. But he let him. He let the blacksmith make the weights. Though it was okay. Anyway, yesterday we learned that they two things. One, obviously, everything's a big abayra to have false weights. To use false weights, it's cheating, and you're having false weights. The Torah says no. You can't even. We learned you can't. We're going to see as we're going to mention again today. You can't even keep a false weight because you even keep it in your house because eventually somebody's going to use it. It's going to go for the wrong thing. We also learned, if you remember, that in certain sets of weights, and I'm going to explain it now because later it's going to be, otherwise it'll be a contradiction. In certain sets of weights, we don't make weights less than a certain amount. Why? Because they're too close to the larger amount. And once you get to the smaller weights, people are going to mix up. A person can easily substitute a small weight for the one that everybody knows.
A third cup and a half cup.
Okay. Wait. No, but I just said that was different than that. But I said that was different. Once you get below a certain weight, when you're dealing in certain heavier weights, once you get below a certain weight, we don't make smaller weights. We want you to use coins. Why? Because a smaller weight will be easily substituted for the smallest official weight. So we don't do it. Today, we're going to actually have a contradiction. Later, we're going to see that people are experts in small weights. And in my humble opinion, because you're talking about two levels, it's one thing here. When you're measuring the weights of metal, like you said yesterday, when you're measuring metal or low metal, like real metal, like iron and things like that. When on the contrary, the other way, when you're measuring very small quantities, people know that once you're in the field of small quantities, people know the difference in the small quantities. So I'm saying you have to always know where you are. One of the things that I had, I don't know why I didn't keep it. I used to make a list. There are certain things that are clear, have to be according to the circumstance. For example, here, Chazal says, like, let's say the time it takes to roast meat. What do you mean the time it takes to roast meat? What do you mean? You could be roasting a whole cow. You could be roasting a steak. You understand? So how long is the time to roast meat? The answer is, in my humble opinion, it's talking about with the normal fire for that amount of meat. Nobody go down to Texas when they barbecue a steer or a cow, whatever they're doing. They're not doing it on a can of sterno. You understand? They got a big fire going over there. So everything with its relative, you understand. So you can say that roasting meat is relative. Obviously, there's a relative norm that people do for the size of the fire. So you have to keep everything in mind. Okay. Anyway, today I'm not going to deal with all the arithmetic. I can't. I can't quickly, and I'll leave it to you. But the principles we'll have. Okay, so here we are. We're at the bottom of yesterday's page.
Principal runs this school.
All right. Yeah, principal runs the school. That's right. I met one guy. It wasn't true, but he said to the students, he says principal, it's spelled PAL. He says because the principal is your pal. That wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't true. That was not true. Yeah, that was not true.
So how are you, child?
Yeah, that was not true. Okay. Anyway, we're at the bottom of Tzadi Amud Beis. Okay, Tanarabana.
Bottom of
Tzadi Amud Beis.
We haven't done Sadi. We're doing Sadi.
We're body of pay test Amud Beis.
That's better.
Okay, Tanya. Tanya, we also learned this principle, okay, that we learned, like he said, a person shouldn't leave a measure that is too heavy or too light. No, it's an inaccurate measure. In his house, even if he turned it into a urinal. Why? Okay, because maybe he'll wash it out and use it. They would make these measures. Now, these measures are going to be important in principle. He would make a saw, a tarkab. Ironically, a tarkab really means tray is two, but a tarkab is three cobs because it's tray and a cob. Tarkab, two cobs and a cob. So a tarkab, ironically, a two cob is really a three cob. The chetzi tarkab, a half tarkab. Okay, the cob and a cob. The chetzi cob, a half cob. Barova, quarter cob, Vitoman, pardon me, Vitoman and Chatzi Toman, a Toman, eighth and a half an eighth, the Uchla and the Uchla. So one says, what's in Uchla? Echad b'chamisha b'reviyah. It's 1/5 of a quarter. What is the bank over here? What is the third fifth bank? Is that the 3/5 bank? What's going on over there? What is that? Is that the 3/5 bank? You know what I'm talking about over there?
Right, I know.
What is the third fifth bank?
There's
Is
one-
it there's a bank over here, but by the
Oh,
Chinese
that's
restaurant.
it's
the third, fifth
it's a-
bank?
It's an Ohio bank. Ohio is different. Go
Cincinnati.
Ohio.
What's the
But
third
their
fifth?
logo was 5/3.
There was
Yeah,
the third national bank and the fifth national bank in Ohio, and they merged.
Oh, I
And
thought it
it's
was.
now no,
Oh, it's not the 3/5 bank.
no, it's the third, fifth
What about Ohio?
in Dayton, Ohio.
What?
The
Good.
logo was five. The logo was 5/3.
Yeah.
Not 3/5.
By the way, I wanted to open an account there just like I said it to my friends. Okay. Omidas Allahu
If you
Osa.
want to get changed.
Yeah.
I got
You have to
got
have
an
an
appointment.
You have to get.
So several people here have like $20 in a
In
savings.
account.
So because you can run in and break.
You get- oh,
100
that's
if
funny.
you're a-
That's funny. Okay, that was so. We were talking about that was dry. What about wet measure? So they would make these measures, okay, and we're going to see there's a logic here, and we're going to compare them a little bit. Midas halacho said when I make the wet measurements, okay, it's a hin, a chatzi hin, half hin, shlishis hin, a third of a hin, revius hin, a quarter of a hin, the log, and a chatzi log, half log, a revius, okay, and a quarter of a log, okay. Shminis and eighth of a log, echad mishmona and b'shminit and 1/64 of a log. The zeu kartav. That's what we call the kartav. Kartav is when the Gemara says, you have to have 40. You have to have 40 sa for a mikvah. So the Gemara says if even a kartav, a small, very small measurement, is missing from that 40 sa, so the mikvah is not kosher. Okay, well, obviously, so 1 second. So you make all the measurements. You don't make a 2 kav measurement. How can you skip the 2 kav? The Gemara says, "Ati lachlicha b'tarka." I'll tell you why. Because you make a 2 kav, you'll mix. It can be easily used to cheat as a 3 kav measure. It's too close. Now, how much bigger is 3 kav than 2 kav? 1/3. Alma to inchi tilka. So, what we're not going to make weights that are within 1/3 of each other because a person can easily substitute a third less and nobody will notice. So then you shouldn't make a measure of a kav. A chatzi tarkav, a half tarkav, is a kav and a half. So why were you allowed to make a kav measure? A kav is 1/3 less than a kav and a half. Ella, you have to say what? Okay, people do not make a mistake. A third is a big error. They know the difference between the third. They're not going to make a mistake. Kabayim hanutami. Here's the reason why they didn't make a 2 kav measure. Here, why? Because you're going to make a mistake between 2 kav and a half tarkav. Okay, what is a half tarkav? It's 1.5, right? It's 1.5, 1.5, and 2 to 1.5, which is it's a whole quarter. That much. That is that smaller amount. You can cheat people. They won't notice. You see, people can be fooled by a quarter. If you substitute a thing a quarter less, it's not enough. It's not pronounced enough for them to notice. If that's 2, chatzi toman ufla. Then 1 second. How come you can make a half toman, half of an eighth, and an uchla? An uchla is 1/5 of a quarter.
1/20th of a cup.
1/20th, yeah. Why? He says why? Because those are really small differences. Okay, it's a very small difference. What is it like? It's here. It's only a fifth. So it's very small. People get cheated. On Rav Papa, he said no. He says the reason we made it, Midas Ksanas Begibinship, people are expert in small measures. Now remember what I tried to explain to you before. Yesterday we said they're not. The answer is you have to know what field you're in. In this particular area, these small amounts they know.
If you're cooking. And
Yeah,
you put in
exactly.
a teaspoon,
Exactly.
It's supposed to be a half.
Exactly. They know. Exactly. No. Okay. Shlishis revius in love. Then how can you make a third of a hin and a quarter of a hin? That you shouldn't do. So you're right. You really shouldn't do it. Because according to the principle what we learned, you shouldn't because people be cheated. But came to having a migdash. Since in the migdash they use those measures, but one of the rabbis did not make a decree. So I said, what do you mean? But migdash, not migdash. Wanted to make a decree also in the migdash. People make a mistake. The answer is what Kohanim's reason. We have a rule in general that Kohanim are more meticulous than other people.
When they're doing the abode.
Yeah. Although I've seen it in general.
Don't make
Yeah, I've seen it in general. Kohanim are more meticulous than other people.
Don't make mistakes.
So that's why
and
you're in the car at 6:30.
I can rely on them. Amar Shmuel. Okay, now this is interesting. Yeah, we have to be careful over here. First of all, in a town decides, listen, we want to change. We're used to international standardization and everything. Even time zones are only made. Time zones only no, they only happen when once we had train. Having trains for the first time where it made a difference. Every town set their clock. What's the difference? In this town, it was 12 o'clock when they said that. What's the difference? Whenever they set their clock. All of a sudden, by trains, people are traveling fast enough that they had to know about the difference in time between the different cities. It'll make a difference over here, but okay, in general, here any town could decide. Listen, we're gonna decide that a hin is this size. We're gonna decide that they can make a change. They can make a change in the measure they use in the town, but they do have to. But there is a limit. Why is that? They have to make a limit because still people are going to come from out of town and they can make mistakes thinking that what they call a hin is what we call a hin, and it's not the same. So the rabbis put a limit on it. They said what? Hey, Amar Shmuel, he said what? So in the given town, let's say you want to make the hin larger, you cannot add more than 1/6. Okay, below and also the same thing. If you want to add to the size of a coin, you don't do it more than 1/6. By mistaker, and also in towns where the rabbis would decide that for staples they put a limit on how much profit you're allowed to make. They put a limit on how much money. So if for staples, they say you're only allowed to make a 6 profit and no more. No, usually a guy can charge what he wants. You charge me, you want to pay, you pay. You don't want to pay, you don't pay. But they said for staples, for staple foods, the rabbis in certain towns in certain towns they put a limit. They said up to 1/6. Okay, that was the rule. Now we said, well, says 1 second. Amos even on leaders said that we just. Well, he says we just told me that we said that Shmuel said that you don't add in a given town if you want to make the measure large, you don't add more than a third. My time, what's the reason? It's more than a 6. Elema, what's the problem? That's what because they're going to take advantage and charge wild prices because they made it bigger. They'll overcharge. People like to do it. It's just not me. Then you shouldn't even allow them to change it at all. You shouldn't even allow them to change the measure even for a third. You had a lot of examples like that here in America when they changed from records, vinyl records to CDs. The companies pumped up the price. Ironically, first of all, it cost pennies to make a CD compared to making a vinyl record. Yet when they changed the CDs, they raised radically the price of buying a recording. There was no justification whatsoever, except what they could. It was a new thing. They charged a lot of money. So we're
paid a lot for the tax.
But the main point is what anytime there's a change, people take advantage of it. To raise the price. So therefore, what if that's true? He says the problem is if you're worried about changing the price, then pay it. Why? I mean, you shouldn't let them even change the measure any amount, even a smaller amount. You shouldn't let them change any amount. You shouldn't change because they'll take advantage. Ellie said that's not the reason. Ellie Shimon, no. The reason why we don't want to do it is because of cheating. Why? Because the heavy bittul mekach. Here's what's going to happen. Remember, up to if you have up to a less than a 6th, we forgive and the deal's on. At more than a 6th, the deal's off, and the deal's off. Everybody gets the money back. At exactly a 6th, the deal is on, but the victim gets his money back. So what's the point like this? So a guy's going to come from out of town, and he's going to think what you call the kilo is what he called the kilo. Okay, what he calls the kilo, and he's going to charge. He's going to charge the price that he thinks. He's going to lose. So up to a 6th, he can do it. Why? Because by a 6th. What he will the deal will be on. The deal will be on. Okay. But if you make if it's more than a 6th, then the deal's going to be off. Okay, and you don't want to make a takana of the rabbis. We're in the marketplace.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, the
has to go back.
No, not just that, but not just that. The other way. All of a sudden, you have deals that are canceled. People are going to go to the market. The deal's no deal. Yeah. Oh, no, it's the other way. It's the other way. They're gonna have to pay him. But anyway, the Amar Rabba called over Shmita Mishkal Minyan. He says it's not. He says it's also not true. He says why? When is that true? When you buy an object, but things that are measured. He says. He says I feel. But you're wrong. In measurements, when you give the wrong measurement, you give a half instead of a quarter. There's no letting go over there. The deal. Everybody gets their money back. Okay. So therefore, what? Okay. So therefore, what? So why are you allowing a sixth? Every deal, the deal is off. Every deal in measurements, what you measure properly, the deal's off. Period. The whole rule doesn't apply. Ella Mishum. Okay, the answer. Okay, so he says what? Ella the Lohabi Pseidel Tigra. Here's why. Because we don't want the foreign merchant. This is what I said. We don't want the foreign merchant to
lose.
Yeah, I shouldn't have introduced the foreign merchant before. So if they don't want the foreign. That's when he comes in. That's his cue. The foreign merchant is going to come in and what? So if the deal is going to be on up to a sixth, he doesn't know that they added. Okay, and he's going to. This is what I meant. This is what I preempted, and he charges the same price as before. Okay, so since we said that on staples, let's say for example, he's supposed to get a sixth. Okay, so therefore, if he loses just a sixth, okay, so it'll be okay. He didn't lose anything from his principal. So by limiting it to a sixth, all we did, the worst is he won't make a profit, but he won't he won't be damaged in the principal that he came to sell. So therefore what? So is okay. So they let up to a sixth. He says, wait a second. He says, Pseidu lo Levi. Levi says, what's the point? What do you mean? He says, what? The only problem is you want to make sure he doesn't lose his principal. What the guy doesn't mean to make a profit. Even for profit, a person puts an investment. Nobody's in business for free. When a person goes into business, okay, not getting his profit is not protecting him because his profit also cost him money. His profit also cost him money. He had to travel. He had to come. He had to this.
That's all. That's all counted.
No. So the point.
Inputs are all
No. The point is like this: if he doesn't get his profit, he loses money. He loses money because he puts in money to make his profit. Sure. So therefore, what? So therefore, he said. Now there's two ways to read this. He says Zabin v'Zabin Tigri Ikri. He said now there's two ways of reading this. One is if a guy buys and sells for the same price, in other words, he doesn't make any profit. Is that one way to read it? Is that called a merchant? Or the other way is what? He says, does the guy buy and sell just to be called a merchant? What do you think? If the guy wants to make a profit, he can't really protect his principal. He's supposed to make a profit. He has an investment. The answer is Elam Rav Chisda. Here's the reason why you can't raise the amount more than a sixth. Shmuel Kro Eshkach. The truth is, it was real with Dor. She found a pasuk, and he darshan it was really a tradition that they had. It's a tradition that was a pasuk. And that was, we learned from the psukim, for whatever reason, that you don't do it changing more than a sixth. We have a very strange pasuk. They're going to talk about the mana of the Beis Hamikdash. And the mana of the Beis Hamikdash, they had three different customs. And the mana of the Beis Hamikdash, put them all together. So the mana of the Beis Hamikdash was very large. No, it's a shekel esrim gera. A shekel was 20 gera. And then it said esrim shkolim, 20 shekels. Chamesha v'esrim shkolim, and 25 shekels. Asar b'chamisha shkolim, and 15 shekels. So 15 and 25 and 5 is 60. Hamani yelachem. So the money is going to be 60 sellers. Okay. Okay. In other words, but the only question is, but why did the pasuk want to tell me 60? Why did it break it down? Why did it break it down into 20 and 25 and 15? Why did the pasuk be so long-winded? The answer is mana. Okay. So the answer is what? Mana masan va'arbain havu. So the answer is what? Because it's going to come out that the mana was 240 dinars. So 240 dinars. They all got together. Shmamina plus. Okay. It's okay. Yeah. So we're going to learn apart. That's what it's really.
That's not accurate.
Yeah.
It's really.
Yeah. Shmamina plus. So you learn from here three things. Shmamina mana shakodesh kapol haya. One, the mana of the Beis Hamikdash was double. Instead of 100, it was really 2. I2 is still not 240. Mishmamina mosif and alamidos. That what we add to the midos. Mosif and yotem mishisus. But we do add, but we don't add more than a 6. And also, how do you calculate the 6? Shmamina Shasus Milabar. If the 200 plus a sixth, how do you get 200 plus a sixth to make 240? So the six has to be the 40 and not a sixth of 200. And that's what you say. So that's called a six from outside. What's a six from outside? If I want to get a six from outside, what you do is you take a fifth of the original number and add that, and then you get a six. So if I have five, if I take a fifth of five, one, and then I get six. So that's it's a sixth of the final number. That's what we're doing here. If you ever want to make a sixth of the outer number, take a fifth of the original number. To get a sixth of the original number, take a sixth. To get a sixth of the new number, take a fifth of the original number, and you'll get a sixth in the final number. That makes it very easy to calculate. Okay, Rav Papa Bar Shmuel talking. Okay, Kyler Bar Tzvasik Kafizim. Okay, Rav Papa Bar Shmuel. We don't understand what he did. Somehow he made a new measurement, which had 3 kapizim, which is what? Which is 9 log. Okay, he made a new measure, a liquid measure. Amalei. Okay, Amalei. So they said to him, Amar Shmuel. Hey, Mosifin Alamidas didn't Shmuel tell me you can't add to any given measure more than a sixth? Okay. So he added a third more, much more, double. Malahusi said to him, he says, I'm not adding to the old measure. He says, I'm making up a new one. Shadre. So they sent his new measure, the Pumpadisa, they didn't accept it. They felt it was an extension. Shadre la Papunya, they went to Papunya. Okay, but there they accepted. But Carle, they accepted it because it's a new measure. But Carle Rose Papa, they called it the measure of Papa. Yeah, his measure. Simon, Otsu Peres, Ein Otsu Emotzim, Amos, Be'ain, Mistakim Pampa. Okay, Mistakim Pampa. Mistakim Pamayim, Bebeitzim, Umasrim, Ulamatzim. We learn. Okay, now we're going to learn about different also things that you're not allowed to do. One of them is what's the word? Hoard. It's hoarding, but it's hoarding for the sake of charging later. You buy up a commodity, right, and then wait till it's missing and then sell it for an exaggerated price. So otre payers, people who hoard stuff, it means you're going to see in a minute that they go out and they buy up stuff in the market in order to hold it. Umalvi berit, the people who lend at interest, which is forbidden. Umaktine eva, people who just use a false measure. Umafki sharia, people who price gouge. Okay, alei makasav omer, about such people, the pasuk says, Masaya chodesh v'nishbir. For example, those people, they say, when will the time, okay, of the grain pile be over? We'll wait a month later, okay, and then we'll sell it for more, okay. So and we'll sell for more, okay. 1 second, and then what they do is that obviously it hurts the poor. Yeah, that hurts the poor people. You realize, okay. I just want to check one thing. I'm sorry. So those are the people who are, and they're causing the price to rise. Okay, they're holding on to it. Okay, Shabbos, and the people who are waiting, they're waiting till Shemitah to come. Okay, which is called Shabbos, and those are the people who are hoarding. We'll wait until there's nothing left, and then we'll sell. Those are the people who are. Then we're going to open up the grain store. Those are the hoarders. So one is just overcharging. One is waiting for the price to go up, and one is hoarding. Lahakti nefa. Okay, we know what that is. That's cheating in the measures. Lahagdil shekel. Okay, and even though it says about those people that they make the shekel bigger, it's not the coin. It means they lend for ribbis. They're trying to illegally increase their money. And also perverting the scales of injustice. And it's written, Hashem swears by the pride of Yaakov. Hashem says, for eternity, he'll never forget Kol Masayim, all the acts of these people. Okay, what's called hoarding? You see, hoarding is only where you buy stuff up, and if you make produce, you can hold it and sell it later. It's not a problem. You just can't buy up stuff. With one guy, withholding his stuff is not going to affect things too much. Amar Yochanan Kagon Shabtai Otzeperes. That's like Shabtai, the famous hoarder of produce. Okay, that he would store them up in order to sell later to the poor people who couldn't, to the poor people at expensive. He sell at a high price. But anybody can. But you're allowed to hoard. But you're allowed to hoard stuff at the cheap time in order to sell at the expensive time to the poor for cheap. You're allowed to buy up stuff to help the poor. Yeah. You're allowed to hold it. That's what I'm saying to you. You're allowed to hold your own thing. That's fine. You're not gonna mess things up. But to go buy up the market in order to sell expensive later, that you're not allowed to do. Okay.
There was once a guy who tried to buy up the silver market, and the price of silver soared to $50 an ounce.
The hunters.
Once he was knast and had to get rid of all, he didn't succeed.
Yeah.
Silver, it's decades later, and silver is still $16 an ounce.
Yeah.
What about black market during the Second World War?
Yeah,
Same
all
thing.
these things are a problem. Yeah, they had the problem when they first got COVID. Everybody's buying up the hand sanitizer. People were buying up hand sanitizer in order to scalp it.
Yeah, and people were making fake hand sanitizer.
Also, yeah. Avu and Shmuel. Okay, so now we're going to see the father of Shmuel used to do the following. The Pere Batara Charpa. He used to sell. He used to sell the early price, the cheap price, right away. He'd sell early so that everybody should sell early. And he was trying to affect the price. Once the price was low, that it would stay low. He purposely sold early to help the people, to help the whole town, that it would go early. Shmuel, his son, what did he do? Mashi lepere, he would hold on to the produce. He would sell the early price, the cheaper price, later when it was expensive, because he was trying to help. He was helping the poor. They sent from Eretz Israel.
Founded Costco.
Yeah. So they sent the message from Eretz Israel. What the father did is better than the son. Okay, my time. What's the reason? Tara the Rabach, because once the price goes up, it stays up. So it's better if a person who sells cheap at the expensive time, which is definitely helpful, is not as good as the person who sells cheap early in order to stop the price from going up at all. And in general, that's what happens. You see, once people get used to a certain number or a range, okay, more or less it. You understand? So once you pump it up, if you can get it up, you understand, to a certain area, it's not going to change.
They don't do that anymore. Now they make the package smaller.
Yeah, that's another trick. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it's.
I'll tell you where so here's the. You're talking about now to now. So remember, I was away from America for years, for decades. When I came back, I love Cracker Jacks. I come back. The Cracker Jacks, it looks like a deck of cards. That's not a Cracker Jacks. Little Cracker Jacks used to be up there. There's nothing.
You used to get a decent toy.
Yeah, now it's paper. It's paper. It's all paper. I don't know, whatever. It's tiny. There's no real toy in it. It's just paper. It's always paper toys. You're right.
Oh, man.
It's yeah.
How well described.
Yeah, and they don't put too many. And there's about 3 peanuts in the box. Everything is wrong. I don't think it's the original Cracker Jacks company.
It's the original.
Is it?
The same caramel.
Yeah, they're
But
cheating.
now it's a 7-ounce box.
And there's no peanuts and there's no peanuts.
And a paper puzzle. And that's the bonus.
Yeah, no peanuts. All right, that was me venting. Okay,
Go.
Okay, I'm a Rab. Rob, Osar the it's Kabo Otsar. A person is allowed to take his own property, and you are allowed to store it up. Okay, that is not called hoarding. If you grew the stuff in your field, you're allowed to hold it. No, you're allowed to hold it until later. If you're not, that's not hoarding. It's your crop. It's buying stuff up that's hoarding. Your own property, you're allowed to do it and do business. That's not a problem.
Whatever happens.
Happens, yeah.
You make the bet.
Yeah, exactly. Tanya Nameach, we learned so in the Brisa. Enochim payros, okay, you're not allowed to hoard produce, things that people live on, these staples, could go on yenosh, monim slosos, like wines and flowers and fine flowers. Avotavlin, but things like spices and kamon and pilpulin and the peppers, all these things, but that you're allowed. Those are not staples. But medvarim, they're special, they're a delicatessen. But medvarim, amurim below kechman ashuk. And when can't you hoard? Only when you buy from the market. That's what we said before. If it's your own stuff, you're allowed to hoard it, no problem. And you're allowed, there are 3 years when you're allowed to hoard up. Since people got to eat 3 years, in a 1 year's crop, you're allowed to hold up and hoard. Okay, you're allowed to buy up stuff in the 3rd year in order to sell for 3 years. But not just you're allowed to hoard it. You're allowed to buy it up in the 6th year to sell. Yeah, and but you're going to sell even to sell to other people is the point. Even though what we said you can't buy up, you can. Here you're allowed to buy it up to keep selling. Okay, and if it's time of famine, then a filu kav charuv leitzor. In a famine, it's different. Then even one box, one little kav of carrots, which is really like the cheapest food. Yeah, carrot food. You're not allowed to hoard it. Why? Then he's putting a curse into the prices, right? He's making a curse. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, the Gufashmai, the Pugashmai. This rabbi said to his serving person, Puga, he said, "Poke outside li perish and go out and hoard up produce for 3 years. The 6th year, the 7th year, and the 8th year." Yeah, and I agree. Okay, you sure we should stop here?
Yeah.
Because the next goes over.
Okay. Okay. Well, both sides. Okay. So now I'm running home
Yes.
to put my house in order. My wife's coming back.
Oh, you better wash the dishes.
If you turn off the recorder, I'll tell you a story.
You gotta change the window.
I'll make a mistake.
That stuff out of the living.
Listen to this story they used to tell. They used to tell